Right, hi guys, welcome to another podcast with Tom and Harry. Today, I've lost count of how many podcasts we're now on. So Harry, I'm sure you'll know, 7, is it?
7. I think this is the 7th, yeah.
Okay, number 7, okay. So welcome to the podcast. We are, in this episode, going to be talking about a multiple amount of things, from other agencies all the way through to problems that people have and how we tackle it, and how just really touch on some of the questions, some of the activity that we've been doing in the week. So we'll kick it off with Harry. First of all, how are you doing? We speak every day and 5 times a day, but
I'm good, mate.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm more and more shocked every day, as you are, of the different shit that we get thrown at us in terms of the terrible activities of people that own agencies in this industry. But I think that's going to be a big talking point of today. It's just some of the diabolical things we've seen this week, especially.
Well, we see horrific stories from clients, or even potential clients, or even people who have used agencies in the past. Just horrific stories about what they charge and what they get in return. And we're not talking results, just like basic service and expectation is just not there. And the benchmark, it just reminds me again, I say this on virtually every podcast, the benchmark of good in social media, in SMMA or digital marketing, the benchmark is like 0. It's fucking atrocious. So
it's really bad.
You can mention a story now. I'm sure you'll want to talk about another agency, but just
so at the beginning of all of these podcasts, we kind of want to just discuss, like Tom said, the different things that we come into contact in that week. So we get tens, hundreds of messages on all of our socials every single day, just with problems people are facing. We've got our academy members where they face different kind of problems because they're more educated, and that's kind of what we want to use this beginning part of the podcast to do, just to combat all of those problems. And one massive thing that I was combated with this week, someone came to me, he's not an academy member, and he said, Harry, I've got a meeting next week. What do I say? And I explained to him, I said, right, you need to take them through your exact strategy, how you're going to get them results. The only reason why they're not going to sign on with you is because you've not made it 100% clear how you're going to get them results. And he came back to me and said, I outsource all the work, so I have no idea how Facebook ads work. And I said, how are you meant to sell a service that you don't know anything about? That's like a driveway. It's like booking a consultation for a driveway, him coming round and him going, I have no idea what I'm doing here.
No, I don't know. I only cut lawns. I don't do driveways. But do you want a driveway done? Yeah, right.
I'm a mechanic. I don't know what I've been sent here for. It's just. And I said, well, you don't do the meeting. There is no way that meeting can go well because you have no. I don't understand how that can go. Like that can be in someone's head.
I do think that people think this like SMMA is like taking candy off a baby.
Yeah,
I think they think they've just got to mention it, and the customer's just gonna ooze enthusiasm and be like, "Fucking hell, you know how to run Facebook and Meta ads? Oh my god, just have my money now! I'll just give it to you. Like, please, we're looking for a savior to help us run a sponsored ad." It's so fucking funny. Like, people need to understand for sure that if you approach someone to offer running Meta ads, you do need to know how they work, because they will ask you questions. And then if you're outsourcing the work all the time, you're going to look, well, it's not sustainable. You can't actually run a business by doing that. So if you're thinking you can run a business by outsourcing all the work in SMMA, then it won't work, will it, mate?
No. And even if you're forced into a position of outsourcing, and if you've watched any of these podcasts, you'll know how against we are about that, then you still need to understand the service from multiple perspectives. If you're selling it, you need to know what you're selling. And 2, even if you're not selling it, you need to be overseeing it. You can't just say, right, you do the Facebook ads and I'm going to trust you 100% that you put in the effort and do the right job.
Because I admire the person getting the appointment. Like they've done,
mate.
Like that's the thing, is they've actually done like a massive amount of the hard work where they've got someone to commit to an appointment, which once you know the knack of how to do it, you'll get them, like, hate this word autopilot because it's not autopilot, but you'll get them on a repeat basis, all these appointments. He or she has got that appointment, and then they shit themselves and gone, fuck, I don't actually know what I'm doing. But actually the beginning bit of getting the appointment, they've done that bit, so well done. So they must have added enough value and interest from the client to go, yeah, I want to talk to this person, talk to me about Facebook ads. oh yeah, I don't know anything about Facebook ads. I was going to give it to some guy in India to do, which, some people, I'm sure that works for people to do that. But when you're trying to start your own business, you do need to know the basics. You can't just DM Tom and Harry and be like, what do I do?
Yeah.
If you're doing it at that stage, you're doomed.
Yeah, there's so many things wrong with that. It doesn't make sense. But leading on to in a meeting, what would you say is the most important part? Not the most important part of a meeting, but what's the most important kind of aspect of a meeting? Because a lot of people will say it's the close. A lot of people say it's how you sell your services, but I disagree.
I've never closed anyone in my life.
No, I agree.
Ever. I've never closed a client, but I've won millions of pounds worth of business. So how does that work? Like, how have I done that?
Oh, I can tell you exactly how. By it's so back to front, isn't it? People think you need to take this aggressive, like Grant Cardone, Wolf of Wall Street approach to sell your services, but you really don't. Like I said at the beginning, as long as they understand exactly how you're going to get results, there's no reason why they won't work with you. They'll just say, yeah, when do we start? You don't need to know closing strategies, etc. All you need to do, show them exactly how they're going to get results, what you put in, what you get out, and then it's a no-brainer for them. The only reason why they won't is they don't trust you. They don't believe you can actually do it. They think you're bullshitting, or you've not explained it. You've not explained it well enough. If you tick all those boxes, then it's a no-brainer for them.
You can't, like, for example, you can't close someone if you're selling a house or selling a car. The reason why you can't close those people is because they make all their judgment on whether they want to buy based on the physical product. So if you want a car, you know what car you want. You want a Lambo that's got all the spec, or even a Ford, a Ford car, or a freaking Skoda. You know what your desired requirements are. The only thing the salesman can do is upsell it, maybe slightly on extras, but they can't close you because it's an emotional sale. The person likes what they see from the very beginning. Same with a house. If you go to buy a house, you know you want 3 bedrooms, you want a nice kitchen, you want a nice garden, you need a playroom for the kids. And once you go there, you see yourself in it, and then it doesn't matter what the real estate agent says, you will want to buy it. Okay. Sometimes the real estate agent might be like, well, we've got a lot of people interested in this property, and that's not a close. That's just because they want like a bit more urgency to test if you're actually serious about it. But it's the same with what we do to a degree. If you're on a presentation with a client, you should be providing so much value to them in the meeting about what the services you're going to offer, how it will work, the end result. You've got to really get them to envision success without over promising. Big mistake, don't do that. But like, you've got to get them from the very word go thinking, this is a good idea. I can see myself working with Harry. And therefore, it's not a question at the end of going, so would you like to sign up with me? It's $1,500 a month retainer. Would you like to do that? You don't have to ask, Harry, do you? Because you know that they're going to go, fucking hell, $1,500. That's a bargain for you two.
Yeah.
And we go, yes, it is.
And if you do find yourself in a meeting saying that, then something's gone wrong. And then the next meeting you need to say, if you've sat there at the end and it's kind of silent and awkward, and you say, well, do you want to sign up for $1,500 a month? Something's gone wrong. It needs to be a conversation more than everything, doesn't it? It doesn't need to be you talk for 45 minutes. That's not the type of presentation or meeting we're talking about. It's just a discussion aided by slides to support your value.
Somebody once told me that sales is just a conversation with a purpose. And it is so true. And that person who told me, 15, 20 years ago, I've never forgot it. And it is. But like, the only type of closing I would do, it's called I do a pre-close. So at the very beginning, I start talking in the language that we're already working together. So I'll say things like, when our campaign starts, and when we start working together, Susan, it's very presumptive of me, but why wouldn't they want to work with me? What I have to offer is fucking good. Our pricing is above average, but we're worth every single penny. And we've got multiple testimonials to back the shit up that we say. So it's kind of irresistible to a degree. So we can pre-close, but the only end close I would do is if I feel that price could be a stickler or a focus point, I'll just literally say, right, so you're happy on the fee. When can I be happy on the start date? And and they've not even asked, they've not even said, Harry, have they, that they want to work with us. but we know they're so keen, and they've probably been stung by agencies in the past, like you've just touched on. It makes it a smooth process. And actually, I sleep really well at night, mate. Like knowing that I'm now working with clients and I'm going to get them. You can't guarantee results, but I'm going to give them blood, sweat, and tears to get results.
Yeah. When for those listening who don't know what a close is, how would you define a close? And what's the difference between
it's asking for the business? Is that person saying yes, they want to work with you and they're going to pay you money? That's it.
Yeah.
Too many people skirt around it. They're so worried to ask for it. And if you've got to ask for the business at the end, like you said, Harry, you're fucked, because you shouldn't get to that stage. You should know that they want to work with you. You should be presumptive, confident, deliver great value in the meeting. So there's no questions unanswered. They shouldn't, if they are not signing with you, right? It's because you have left an element of doubt in their head, so they don't want to commit. So you shouldn't, if they're resisting on the price, if they're not sure and they want to shop around and like, give me a couple of weeks, I need to see if this is right for me. You've left doubt in them. So turn to them and say, do you have any doubts about working with me on this project? Ask it at any point, probably the end, but just say to them, do you have any element of doubt working with me? Because I'd like to talk about it now, if that's okay.
Yeah. There's two.
They will probably, mate, turn around to you and be like, no, it's fine. It's like totally fine. Then go for it. Say, well, great. Well, when can we start?
Yeah, I love asking, like, especially on like more of a sales call rather than meet. Actually, no, on a meeting as well. When people are kind of, I recently happened with one of our clients who we're trying to get over the line. She was kind of umming and ahhing about, is this going to work or results or whatever it is. And I said the name, just tell me what you're thinking. Just give me what's your gut saying, what's your head saying, what's your heart saying, and just let her speak for 20 minutes. She literally spoke for ages. I said, just tell me what you're thinking and we can work through it. Then that's like bringing a human side out of both of you, that you care what they're talking. Like
nobody does that.
No, that's such a short phrase that you can throw in. Just say, what are you thinking? Just talk and say it in that tone of voice. Because
where's your head at?
Just tell me everything and then we'll work around it. If it's like, I can't work now because of price, then you can work around that. People are so rigid. And coming from someone who's a bit younger, when I was doing from my first meetings, the time I got the most imposter syndrome was when I was telling my price. It really was. I was like, I wasn't scared to say my price. I said it, but you're almost really inclined to just, once you say your price, to just continue justifying it. So you say, my price is $2K a month. This is why it is. It's, it's really good value, and you keep talking and you sound like an idiot. And I remember I can't remember who told me this. They just tell your price and then shut up.
Yeah.
And then the first person to talk loses, because hopefully,
that is absolutely the way to do it. Like that, if you check out my Instagram and go down my feed, there is one about that, and it says, when you give your price, do not talk, just be quiet.
Yeah,
literally like this. So so this project, we're looking with XYZ service. We're going to throw in SMS messaging, email sequencing. So for that, it's $1,500 a month, and we only work with people on a 4-month basis.
Yeah, you do, don't you?
It's awkward. It's awkward as fuck. Yeah, it's awkward. But you have nothing else to say. No, it's now with them. So don't do this. This is part 2. Okay, so with everything we talked about, we're throwing in this SMS, email sequencing, social media management. So it's $1,500 a month, and we work on a 4-month contract basis with our clients. So if that's okay with you, would that be all right? I know you've talked about money in the past. Like you're already, you're scrambling around to get out the tunnel.
Well, you're trying to justify it. You're trying to justify the price you've given, but you've already justified it for the whole conversation.
If you're listening to this and you are getting appointments and you are getting in front of people, even if you've got another job, a sales job, I'm a former sales coach. I've coached hundreds, if not 1,000 people on sales and how to improve themselves in sales. I've been to India and trained people in India. I've trained people in Bristol, London, Glasgow, right? It's all the same shit. But the one thing you can take from this, if you're in a sales job now, is never justify your fee. Because by justifying your fee, that means you're not worth your fee in your head. Like you said, the imposter syndrome, Harry. So don't ever justify it, and try it. If you're listening to this now and you're in a sales role, give a price and shut the fuck up. Because you'll see a dramatic change in the behavior. And also it will test you as a person. It'll be really awkward and uncomfortable. It will be. You'll feel like you're kind of being arrogant with it. You're not. You're just delivering your value, delivering how much that value is going to cost them with pure confidence and decency. And then you're just leaving it with them to let it sink in. Let it sink in with them and give them some space to think about it.
Yeah. Okay. So leading on from that, mate, once you tell them your price, a lot of people message me and say, Harry, I've had this meeting, and then the client ghosts me after the meeting, or he says, send over all of the information in a proposal. How do you go about that? If someone's saying I'm getting ghosted after every meeting and nothing's happening, how do you get around that? Yeah.
Right. So what I'm about to tell you now, again, people listening, this I've used multiple amount of times, and I'd say like it works more often than not. I was about to say 60% of the time it works every time, which is an accurate quote, but no, it works more than that. So if you had a presentation, you've given a price, and sometimes the sales cycle, mate, it's like, it can be months. We sign clients after a year from our initial discussion. That's a disclaimer, which happens all the time. However, if they're ghosting you, you do the following. You either write them an email, you either ring them. Ring them will be better if they can answer, and then you get face-to-face or talking on the phone. Just say to them, and let's call her, let's make a fictitious name up.
Let's call her.
Go on, give me a name.
Julie.
No, let's not use Julie. let's use Sally.
Sally's a good name.
Okay. Right, so so you've had a presentation with Sally about running some of her socials and running some ads, some strategic lead gen ads for her spa. Okay. Sally is now, you've sent Sally a proposal. She's got it. You've emailed her. Okay, so she's got all the info. She knows the shit. Sally has now not emailed you back. You tried calling her before and she hasn't picked up. And you've sent her a text, maybe. Sometimes we text our clients, so that's not a bad thing. Sally's gone MIA. All right. It's kind of like the dating world, this, mate. It's like dating advice. Sally's gone MIA, ghosting you. So what you're going to do is send an email that's about 2 lines long, because no one reads more than about 3 lines anyway. So if you're sending a big fucking chunk of an email, change it. It needs to be short, sharp. You're going to go, Sally, I've been doing some strategic planning within my agency for the rest of the year, or at least for the next 4 months. I've actually only now got room to take on 2 new clients. Personally, I would love to work with you and your brand because I felt I connected with it. So please, can you let me know as soon as you can whether you'd like to take me up on my offer, because there are other people waiting.
Lovely stuff, mate. Perfectly
See
done.
what she says to that, because what you're doing is causing urgency and an immediate response to act. It's like when we run a Facebook ad and we put on our Facebook ads only 9 spots remaining. Offer endings at the end of June, on your Facebook ads or your Meta ads, because that we want people to go, shit, I'm going to miss this. No one likes missing out. That's FOMO. So whether it's true or not, you don't have to explain that. You could have only 2 people that you can take on. Like me and you actually really can't take on any more people until we recruit another member of staff till the end of the year. So that is truth, but it's not necessarily, you just have to plant. That is out and out sales. You have to plant that so she has an immediate reaction and an emotional response to go, fuck, I need to get off my ass and actually speak to this guy, because clearly he's about to shunt me. Yeah. He's about to remove me off his interest books, and no one likes that.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. And something you said there about the first thing you should do is just give them a call. I think that's super key as well, which not a lot of people do. And going off on a bit of a tangent here, how important just picking up the phone and speaking to these people is. Not only getting clients, when you've got clients as well. When you've run into problems or you're struggling to get results or something happens, you get an ad account banned. It happens to us all the time, just not because we're doing anything wrong. Facebook just do these random checks. And so many issues in your agency can be solved if you just pick up the phone and speak to your client, can't it?
Yeah.
Like that, it resolves the problem immediately. If you have a problem, you're not getting results, and all you do is drop them a message, you're having a conversation over message, people read messages in the wrong way. And I'm terrible for that, reading messages in the wrong way, aren't I? Like I just someone will put a full stop at the end of a text and I'll think, fucking hell, they're angry, or like shit like that. Like, honestly, I do. So like,
I know you do. It's funny as fuck.
It's so important to just pick up the phone, because then it's resolved instantly. The amount of issues that we've come across because people just don't pick up the phone to us and ring us. And it's the same with clients as well. It's so crucial, which is why when people say, oh, when I'm running an agency, do I have to pick up the phone, or do I have to show my face on camera and stuff? It's like, to be honest, yes, you fucking do. You can't hide behind a screen. You can't hide behind your keyboard and just text and email. It's not going to work. If you want to keep clients long term, that is.
No successful business has been built on that.
Yeah, do you think Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos doesn't want to sit in a meeting and speak to his clients?
Yeah,
obviously.
He takes them out for dinner. Like, not saying you should do that, but he's always building that rapport. And actually, people don't understand that. You do have to have rapport building skills. You have to build relationships with your clients. You know, you have to take an interest in them personally. Like, we know a lot about our clients. We know if they've got kids. We know if they're married. We know if they're happy. We know if they're stressed, because sometimes it's taken out on us and we can see they're under pressure. And it's, these things are important. And you know, don't fall for what other people who are selling courses online say. Yeah, just send a loom every 2 weeks and stuff like that. You'll lose clients like that because they're not getting that emotional connection from you. And when people feel like you're on their side and you're in their corner and you're fighting with them, they are so much more responsive. If they think you're drifting or your interest isn't there with them, even though you're running ads and they can see it coming up on their feed saying this ad is running, and they can see you emailing them a link to the new funnel, you've got to get them on a call to say, hey, how are things? Like, how is business? You know, it builds massive relationship.
100%. If you're watching this and you've got a client and you think, oh, I've not spoken to them in 2 weeks on the phone, or you can't even remember the last time you speak to them, when you finish watching this, give them a call, even if it's to say, hi, Susan, how's everything going with business? Just tell me how's everything going in your life? How are your kids? How's the overall business doing? And then that will develop a conversation, and that will go into your ad campaigns, whether they're happy. Like, when was the last time you've asked your client, are you happy with the results I'm bringing you? That might be a scary question for a lot of people, because they might not think they're doing a very good job, but that's going to keep them long term. It's fine if you're not getting the client the results that they're wanting, as long as you're telling them you're working on it and you're getting there, then you're fine. It's when you ghost them, you are, even if you send them a Lumen update saying you got this many leads, this many sales in, that's still ghosting. You need to have that personal conversation. Just last week, Tom, we had probably 5 or 6 of those conversations where we just said, hi, how's everything going? Just talk me through your head. The same thing on a sales call where you say, what are you thinking? You have to do that regularly. You really do. It's not, and I blame everyone.
Stress that point enough. That is so fucking important to do that.
Again, I blame everyone in this industry who makes it this. Do you know what I genuinely think people think SMMA is? I think it's they think it's like drop shipping. They think you put drop shipping, if no one knows what it is, you sell a product on Amazon, you sell a product on a store. Once it sells on your store, you go onto a wholesaling website like AliExpress and you ship it from AliExpress direct to the consumer, so you don't touch the product. That's that's a business model which people who want to make money online can do so without any communication. It's passive income in a way, because you can automate it and you sit behind a computer screen and don't speak to anyone. That is not what SMMA is. It really isn't. And people think, right, I'm going to set up some logistical stuff. I'm going to set up this, and then it's going to run. I'm going to outsource a salesperson, outsource an ad media buyer, and it's just all going to work. I'm going to sit back and get money. That's just not how it works. It really isn't. And it's so frustrating.
Where it works, SMMA works for people who have, it can't work for everyone, because you do have to have communication skills. You must be able to talk to people. You know, you must be able to at least not be scared of not just picking up the phone, but scared of being pushed out of your comfort zone. But in general, it can be learned. It can be learned by anyone. And if you're a student listening to this and you want like a side hustle, side income, just to get you through uni. You can absolutely learn from good people. You can implement, and you can. I know a particular girl who lives near me, and she's implemented all the strategies that we put into place, and she's now making. She doesn't even try that hard at it, which is kind of frustrating to watch. She doesn't even try that hard to get clients, but she knows a lot of people. She's got a good inner circle. She's tapped them up, and now she's making like 3.5K a month from doing a bit of social media managing and running some ads, like some simple ads. And you think £3.5 a month? That's like that's the take-home pay of someone who is on
about 60K,
65, 60K a year. She just does it on the side, like in between working somewhere else. It's fucking nuts.
See, that's, I feel like a lot of the time,
but she has exceptional communication skills.
Yeah. I think
very good communication skills.
Yeah, we spoke about this in the past week, and for those who have listened to all of these podcasts, you might think, me more than you probably, actually no, both of us, we get very frustrated with the industry. We get very frustrated with people doing a disservice to clients. We get very frustrated with people. We get very frustrated with people selling courses. We get very frustrated with people who create content, who put SMMA in a different light than it actually is. And I don't want people listening to this being discouraged starting an agency or discouraged with the industry of how we talk about it, because it is very achievable. It's so achievable for you to make. If you were doing a side hustle, $3,000 a month extra to top up your salary while you're doing a job, it's very achievable to get your agency to 10, 15, 20K a month within, 12 to 16 months. That's very achievable. All we're saying is it's not the blueprint that you might think it is due to how other people portray it. That's all we're saying. We're not here to put people off starting an agency. We have an academy that helps people do exactly that in the best way and most efficient way possible. All we're doing is just setting the playing field.
We don't sugarcoat.
No, we don't sugarcoat it. No. And we're actually almost sick of people basically scamming clients, because we deal with it all the time. And these people are business owners, 90% of business owners are fucking really nice people. And they are almost getting robbed by people that don't know what they're doing, which is almost a big percentage of why we do make the academy and we help people, because we want, like, if it's everyone
also why we do so well as an agency, because we're just picking up the shit that someone else has left behind. And although that has bitten us in the past, because sometimes people are like, well, I can't pay you that because I've already paid 15 grand on this agency that got me no results. And we turn around and say, well, that's your fault. That's not us. You're now dealing with the elite. So it works in our favor because there's so much shit. But you're right. Like, I think we get frustrated. Yeah. I don't want people to listen to our podcast thinking, fucking hell, it's so unachieved. Like, it must be so complex. Yeah. It's not complex.
It's not.
The job is not complex. Once you know how to do the tasks, like the actual button pushing, right? Which is, there's a lot to learn, but you can 100% learn it. I could teach my mum in 3 months how to do what we do. She'd struggle with like the sales side and the communication and all this stuff, but in general, you can teach, and we teach it very, very well in our academy. But we also don't sugarcoat that shit. We're not responsible for your results. You're responsible for your results. And I think people who sell courses online, they kind of feed that this is a wonderful world and it's really quite straightforward and it's nice and easy and this is what you've got to do and you'll make 6 figures and you'll be doing 50K a month and you'll be outsourcing work. No, you won't. Like, if you go in thinking you're going to be an immediate success, you're fucked. You have to. What they don't highlight is actually how hard you've got to work.
Yes.
And it doesn't, like, the harder you work, the more money you will make. If you want it as a side hustle, you don't have to work the hours that you want. You don't have to. If you're managing 3 clients, doesn't take huge amounts of work. But we just don't sugarcoat it, and we don't want people going into it, but even buying our course or even someone else's course, thinking, oh, this is the answer to all my troubles and I'm going to smash it. And oh shit, now they're asking me to do cold calls. Now I'm having troubles with my business manager. Shit, now how do I set up SMS messaging? The client wants email marketing. They've not taught me that. They've only taught me Facebook ads. Why is the client asking me for email marketing? Because most clients want a full rounded package. That's why. And we're saying that because we are living through it. We are living not the dream, but we're living the SMMA life, or the digital. I don't like the term SMA as such because it's digital marketing for me, but we're living it. So we know what happens. We know it incredibly well. We see it coming. We see the shit before it hits.
Yeah.
So, and we're just trying to get you to be prepared, but it is super achievable. Side hustle or full time. You can absolutely learn from the right people. And that's not saying learn from me and Harry. Listen to us. If you enjoy our content, listen to it. But we don't ask for anything else from you, but just to be aware of what we're trying to say to you. And it comes from a really good place with us to help you guys out.
It does. And I think a lot of the stuff that we talk about, a lot of people who have 2 or 3 social media management clients, they're probably not going to need a lot of the stuff we talk about. A lot of the stuff we talk about is quite high level, and you're only going to experience it in volume once you hit those big revenue landmarks in your agency. Once you hit the 10, 15, 20K a month mark, that's when these issues are really going to come into play, like the real nitty gritty stuff that we speak about. But like, for example, a lot of people are doing this alongside their job. They're not going to get to that part where that really comes into play that heavily. If you're only dealing with 3 or 4 people, earning $4,000 a month on the side of your job, you do it in the work in the evenings, that's perfectly fine. And yet all the stuff we talk about still very much applies to you. But once you start getting up to 15, 20 clients and you're earning 20K, that's when those techniques and those strategies, those sales, communication skills are really going to come into play. And if you don't, and that's when, if you don't implement them, it's really going to affect you.
Yeah, completely.
So it's all, like you said, it's just how far you want to take it. It really is like it's a rolling snow, good analogy, is a rolling snowball down a hill that's building momentum. And it's when you want to put a brick wall in front of it and say, that's where I stop. That's how far I want to take it. For us, we're never fucking stopping. That's a never ending slope. But for some people, it will stop at 4K a month because that suits their lifestyle.
It's funny because if you've got another job, you can absolutely do outreach in between it, and you can do the fulfillment in the evenings. I only work late. I work late in the evenings because I don't like watching TV. Like, I don't like watching Netflix. I don't like watching TV in general. All I like to do is listen to music. If I want to listen to music, I can work at the same time because I actually love my job. So I do a lot of work in the evenings just because I can't be fucked to watch TV, man. Like, however, so if you've got a full-time job, you can do like even text messaging. There's so many mobile numbers of decision makers. You could ping out 50 text messages a day. And honestly, I guarantee you'll get people come back to you saying, yeah, I'm interested. When can we talk? And then you'll get them on a meeting whenever it suits you, in between lunches or even an evening. So there's always ways around it. And even like we've got someone in the academy who, makes phone calls. I think he makes like 10 or 15 phone calls in his lunch break. He's got an hour and he just pings up the phone. He's got a list he takes with him, makes a phone call, and gets appointments. Like, of course he
that's so what he does. That specific academy member, I was speaking to him yesterday. He does all the work for his clients in the evenings, has a job in London, at a different, not a marketing job, just a general job, and in the evenings does all of his actual like service delivery in the evenings, set up a prospecting list every evening of say 10 to 15 people. In his lunch break the following day, rings those 15 people. 60% of them won't pick up the phone. 3 of them will say not interested. 2 of them will have a long conversation within that hour and get 1 or 2 meetings out of it. I'm not saying that happens every day. Sometimes he'll set up 4 meetings in a day. Sometimes he'll set up 0. But that's just how he does it. So he does his sales in his lunch break because that's when people are picking up the phone. You can't cold call people at 7 p.m. at night, really. And that's how he operates his business alongside his job. And just he's happy with 3,000 or 4,000 extra a month, and that's tops up his wage to practically 6 figures. And it's a good medium.
The best outreach methods, which we've talked about, if you're going to do outreach, I would just be doing LinkedIn. Get your LinkedIn profile really good and just send some LinkedIn DMs. So you only have to do 10 a day, 15 a day if you've got another job. Send like 15 emails, 20 emails, maybe more. And if you make cold calls, chuck in 20 cold calls on top of that. That's decent.
Yeah. And do them to the same people. So the same people you're cold calling, find them on LinkedIn, connect with them, message them, and email them. If you do that, if you multi-platform outreach to each individual, you can talk about that on your cold calls. And this, we probably shouldn't be saying this here because we talk about it massively in the academy, but if you connect with them before the cold call and they accept their request, get their phone number off their LinkedIn or get their phone number off Company's House or whatever, and you say, hi, we've recently connected on LinkedIn, what a better way to open, because then you've got that mutual kind of
you've got a bit of common ground, which is loose, but there's no common ground there.
Yeah, exactly. And no one's willing to do that.
No, they're not. And I think there's definitely way. Outreach is not as scary as people think. It's so doable. Once you do that, just remember though, guys, you're reaching out to them to get a secured appointment, not to secure a sale. You're just doing it to get phase 2. It's all about phase 2. Phase 2 is the meeting. That's when you're telling them what you're going to do for them and how much you're going to cost and the value to them, like how you're going to change their business for the better. That's phase 2. Phase 1 is reaching out. You're reaching out, you're casting your rod to get a bite, but the reeling in is the meeting. You just need to get the bite. You need phase 2. That's all you need to remind. And that takes the pressure off you. Like, people put so much pressure on themselves thinking, shit, I'm going to make a cold call. I've got to sell to them. I've got to know my shit. No, you're just going to say, hey, John, I like what you do. This is what I do. I want to talk to you in more detail. Take it or leave it. No pressure, but I'd love to speak to you next Tuesday. And it'll be the best 10 minutes of your life. Yeah.
Fucking love that, mate. But I think that's massively. Well, should we wrap it up there, mate? That's 30 minutes.
Yeah, I hope that's been useful for people. It's a bit more sales coaching today. But I think people listening to it will be like, fuck, I can actually implement this shit because
there's so many golden nuggets there that people can take away. And the best one for me is if you've got a client, give them a call after listening to this podcast, providing it's not 1 a.m. in the morning and you're waking them up for a chat. Probably don't do that.
Say, hey, what's up? How you doing?
And what's happening. But I think in the next podcast, mate, let's talk about what to do when you're not getting results. We've touched on this briefly. If you're like running an ad campaign, you're not getting results, how to go about it, not only dealing with the client, but what you can implement to actually start getting results. I think that's a good talking point.
Cool.
Okay, guys. Thank you for listening. Subscribe, do all the good stuff. Follow us on Instagram. Check out the links below for our academy if you're interested in learning from us, working with us in mentorship, etc. And see you in the next one.